What up, Blockchain Nation? So today I want to talk about ENS, which is the Ethereum naming service. And this is a very fascinating project. And it's I won't say it's a new project. It's really an ancient project, but not ancient. It's not a very new project, but I'm just covering it for the first time. But I think it's something that we should definitely cover. And it's a very exciting project. So what ENS is it's Ethereum's naming service. It provides more human-readable names for your dApps. Also, its goal is to create a decentralized domain name registry. So, unlike DNS, now what DNS is a domain name service which you use to register domains. So, if I go to AWS, for example, and I can go to AWS service, which is called, where is it, Route 53, I can use Route 53 to buy and to host different domains. So, I can look for a domain, and I call this the very bad guy.com, and I can check, is this domain name available or is not, and it says the very bad guy.com is available, and I can buy it and I can host it on my DNS service. Now what this means is, really what's happening is your .com address is tied to some IP address, so your .com domain is tied to an IP address somewhere, which is very centralized. The powerful thing about ENS is it's not tying an IP address to your domain. Is tying a smart contract address to your domain, which is very powerful because smart contracts are decentralized and they sit on the Ethereum mainnet. So that's one of the great advantages about using ENS, Ethereum naming services, against using your regular domain naming service, which means that it's not prone to DDoS attacks, and which is a very wonderful concept. So it resolves human-readable.eth addresses to smart contracts, to Ethereum account addresses, and the likes, instead of having those long addresses. Now I'll explain what that means. So if I go to my Ethereum wallet, for example, or ETH, I don't want to go to ETH, let me go to my Coinbase account, excuse me. Now this is my Ethereum address. It's a very long address. I have to copy this every single time if I want someone to give me Ethereum or to whatever other crypto asset I have to copy the address of that crypto asset. So what the powerful thing about the Ethereum naming service is that it gives me a human-readable, like a domain. It could be my bad guy, myremy.eth, which is tied to this Ethereum address, which is a very, very, very powerful concept. So, like if you look at my website, this is aderemiodufe.com. Don't judge me on how wonderful this looks, but it's resolved to an IP or resolved to an S3 bucket on AWS or something of the nature, which is very, very centralized, as opposed to having a more decentralized approach where I can have a smart contract, I can have my crypto assets, and they are tied to that domain, which is really, 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 really awesome. So, for example, if I go on Twitter and I look for people with .eth domains, let's come here. Okay, I see eric.eth. So let's go to Etherscan, and if I go to Etherscan and I say eric.eth, it resolves and shows you this is the address of the that is resolved eric.eth to. So if I want to give eric.eth to, if I want to send money to eric.eth, I can just go to Coinbase and I can send, and I can specify what the address is. I have $0 because I've spent all my money in Bitcoin and Ethereum, and I don't keep assets on Coinbase, don't judge me. Anyways, all I just do is specify eric.eth, and if I had funds, then I'll be able to send, and you see it resolves his address, which is very, very cool, very, very powerful concept, and that's why I like this. I think this is a huge game changer. Now, not only does it resolve your crypto wallet address, it also resolves if you have NFTs, if you have other crypto assets, you can wrap all those into your Ethereum name service or your Ethereum domain, which is, in my opinion, a huge game changer for Ethereum. So people talk about, I digress about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, how there's so many complications in it. One thing that people are complaining about is these long addresses, but all these problems are being solved, baby. So I'm really excited about what's going on in the crypto industry. And so, yeah, so here's how you do it. You go onto the ENS Domains, which is the Ethereum name service. You just launch the app. The app will be connected to your MetaMask wallet. In this case, I already have MetaMask installed. So as you can see, it's already connected to my MetaMask wallet. Then I'll look for the address. I'll say the bad guy. And I look for it. And it says the bad guy.eth is it available? Yes, it's available. So I've connected my mainnet. using my account. I do not own any ENS domains as of now. And then what I can just do is, so this is my address, which I can wrap to a domain as well. So let's look for my bad guy again. Yeah, and the domain is available. So if I want to buy it, I click on register. I can register it for a whole year, and then I can have, this is how much it costs, it's $5, but at almost this gas fees on Ethereum are very expensive. This is how much it will come to, so I can request to register this domain. Now, another wonderful thing, which is the first thing I talked about ENS, is that it provides me more readable human names for your DAPPS and also for your crypto wallets or crypto assets. The second thing that's powerful about ENS is that it prevents domain squatting. For example, like if 20 years ago somebody bought the domain coca-cola.com, knowing that Coca-Cola was going to be a huge company, then Coca-Cola has to pay a huge amount. The owner of that domain, who was squatted on that domain, can say, Coca-Cola, pay me $1 billion for the domain. And this has happened in real life. Remember, I was in Nigerian Airways. They were rebranding the brand. It's a very sad story. And eventually, when they wanted to go live, they hadn't acquired the domain. And so some guy who was squatting on the domain said, bring a ridiculous amount of money for it, and they couldn't acquire the domain. I think it was Nigerian Airways or Air Nigeria, I forget what it was. So, but this prevents people squatting on domains. And how that works is that, unlike DNS, you're locking Ether in a smart contract that gives you rights to the domain for a certain amount of time. Like in this case, this allows you to lock your Ether for a year to have this domain. So when you let go of the domain, you get your Ether back. And so the great thing is, you can now, when you want to acquire your domain, you make a request to the register. So how this prevents domain squatting is, let's say now I buy Microsoft.eth, and Microsoft doesn't have that domain. I'm sure it's, I'm very surprised if it's available. Should we check? Microsoft. I doubt if this will be available. It's unavailable because Microsoft has acquired the domain. But anyways, how it prevents domain squatting is that when you now bid or you request to register for your domain, let's go back to the one we're looking for, the really bad guy. The really bad guy, the ETH is available. So if we make a request to the register. Now, the wonderful thing about this is that it uses something called a victory auction. So how it prevents domain squatting is, let's say I want to acquire google.eth, and I buy today I bid for a certain amount of Ether. Now, if Google really wants this domain, Google will also bid for the domain as well. Now, it looks at how much is bid for the domain. So obviously, the person who really wants that domain is going to bid higher than anybody else. And so it's going to look, and instead there are 1, 2, or 3, or 4 bids, it will agree on the second highest bid, which will arguably be the person who really wants to own or really has ownership of the domain. Like the example I gave before, if I'm just a domain squatter somewhere, I can buy a couple of domains for $150. It means nothing to me. But the person who really wants the domain, like the example I gave, like airnigeria.com, and they're willing to bid 1,000 ETH for that domain, it makes sense that that's really the company or the authority or the body, institution that really has rights to that domain. A squatter is not going to pay $1,000, $2,000, $5,000, $20,000, $30,000 for a domain when they're just trying to make a quick buck. So that's how it prevents domain squatting. So in my opinion, the Ethereum name service is really a fantastic concept. It's come a long way. Initially, it didn't have support for Google Chrome, but now it has support for Google Chrome. And as you can see, if I go back here, it shows you that there are over 334,000 names, 292 integrations with other applications, so many owners. You can tie all these crypto assets, whether it's your CryptoKitties, whether it's your NFTs, whether it's your Doge, your Ether, your Uniswap, and your Bitcoin, and you can tie all those addresses to one .eth account. You can use traditional domains also like .com, and there's so many apps that are integrated with it, like MetaMask and Brave Browser. So this is a game changer, and I'm very excited to see where this ends up. So that's all I have. So till next time, I wish for you that you learn more about cryptocurrencies and blockchain technology, because crypto and Bitcoin and blockchain is changing and will change the world. And those who get involved early, in my personal opinion, will greatly impact the future. And if that is you, then let's go change the world.
If you would like to create more awareness for your brand or content, or you would like to earn additional income, register now on www.kleekey.com. The more you share, the more you earn. Kleekey.